Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are jumping headfirst into what I like to call the final level of any major construction project, FIDIC's Clause 11, Defects After Taking Over. We're going to be using Michael D. Robinson's amazing guide to the FIDIC Red Book 2017 to break it all down. Now, I know, that sounds super complicated, but I promise you, by the end of this, it's going to feel super simple. We're going to make this exciting, I promise. Ready? Let's do this.
So picture this. The big ceremony is over, the ribbons are cut, everyone's shaking hands. That shiny new project is officially open for business. We're done, right? Not even close. You see, the end of construction is really just the beginning of the final and maybe most critical phase. This is where we make sure everything that's been built isn't just good, it's absolutely perfect.
So, how are we going to conquer this final level? Well, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the project's warranty period. Then we'll dive into the fun part, the blame game. Who pays for what? After that, we'll look at what happens when things go wrong, the unexpected challenges. Then we'll cover the road to that all-important final certificate, and finally, how everyone cleans up and moves on. And stick around, because at the end, we'll have a quick recap and a quiz to see what you've learned. Let's go.
All right, Section 1. The mission begins. The project has been handed over, but believe me, the contractor's work is far from finished. This is where the real test of quality begins. The pressure is definitely on.
Okay, first things first. Let's get this one term locked in your brain, the Defects Notification Period, or DNP for short. Honestly, think of it just like the warranty you get on a new phone. You know, for that first year, if you find a problem that's the manufacturer's fault, they've got to fix it for free. The DNP is exactly that, but for a giant building or a bridge. It's that official period where the contractor is on the hook to fix any issues that pop up, and that clock starts ticking the very second the taking over certificate is issued.
So, what's the contractor's actual mission during this DNP? Well, first, they have to wrap up any little leftover jobs from the handover. That's the punch list. But the main quest, the big one, is to find and fix any new problems that show up. And they've got to do it quickly, carefully, and without causing any new damage. And the final goal for them? Get every single little thing signed off by the engineer before that warranty period runs out. No pressure.
All right, next up, let's talk about the thing everyone really cares about, money. When something breaks, the big question is always, who's paying for this? But this isn't just a big argument. FIDIC has a super clear rule book for this exact blame game. And here are the rules, laid out plain and simple. Basically, the contractor pays for their own mistakes. You know, if they used bad materials, if the workmanship was shoddy, if their own design has a flaw, that's their bill to pay. But, on the other hand, if the damage is caused by the employer's own staff, or maybe by the public, like a car crash damaging a new guardrail, or even by a different contractor the employer hired, well then it's the employer's problem to solve and their cost to cover. But what happens if there's a disagreement? What if the contractor looks at a crack in the wall and says, hey, that wasn't me? Well, they can't just throw their hands up. There's a formal process. They have to write up a formal notice and send it to the engineer. Then, the engineer basically becomes the referee, investigates what happened, and makes the final call on who's at fault.
Now for the juicy part, the plot twists. Because even with a perfect rulebook, things can and do get complicated. This section is all about those what-if moments, the unexpected challenges that can happen during the DNP.
So, what if a defect is so bad that you can't even use a part of the project? In that case, the DNP, that warranty period, can actually be extended for that specific part. But, and this is a big but, there is a hard limit. The DNP can never, ever be extended for more than 2 years total. This is super important because it stops a project from being stuck in warranty limbo forever. It gives everyone a clear finish line.
Okay, so what if the contractor just doesn't fix something? The employer isn't helpless here. They have some serious power moves. It's a clear step-by-step process. First, they set one last, final deadline. If the contractor still doesn't do it, the employer can just hire someone else to fix it and then send the bills to the original contractor. Ouch. Or maybe it's a small issue and they can agree on a price reduction. And if things are really, really bad, they have the ultimate option: terminate the contract completely.
Now here's a really interesting scenario. What if a huge piece of machinery, something massive, needs a repair that you can't possibly do on site? Well, the contractor can't just load it onto a truck and drive away. They need to get the employer's official permission first.
And to make sure that expensive equipment comes back, the employer might ask the contractor to increase their performance security. Think of that security as a big safety deposit. If a $1 million generator leaves the site, the employer wants to make sure that safety deposit is big enough to cover it, just in case.
We've navigated the challenges, we've dodged the plot twists, and now it is time for the final boss. This is all about the very last steps the contractor has to take to claim total victory and get that one single piece of paper they've been working towards this whole time.
And this timeline shows that final sprint to the finish line perfectly. The second a defect is fixed, a new clock starts. The contractor has 7 days to notify the engineer about any retesting that's needed. Then, the engineer has 7 days to reply. Then, once every single thing is fixed, all the paperwork is done, and the DNP has officially expired, the final countdown begins. The engineer has just 28 days to issue the grand prize.
And what is that grand prize? It's the performance certificate. This is it. This is the championship trophy, the gold medal, the game over you win screen. This single piece of paper is the engineer officially stating that the contractor has fulfilled every single one of their obligations. It is the final, official, undeniable acceptance of the entire project. Certificate in hand, it is time for the victory lap. This last little phase is just about tying up all the loose ends so everyone can finally, officially close the books on the project. So what happens right after that certificate is issued? It's pretty straightforward. First, any outstanding payments are settled up. Then, the employer has 21 days to return that big safety deposit, the performance security, back to the contractor. And finally, the contractor gets 28 days to pack up their tools, clear out their equipment, and leave the site looking spotless. And then, it is truly 100% officially done. We made it through the final level, so now it's time for a quick mission debrief. Let's do a little pop quiz and see how much you remember. You ready for this? Okay, quiz question number 1. A brand new road gets beat up by a ton of public traffic during its warranty period. Who has to pay for the repairs? Is it the contractor or is it the employer?
Question number 2. Let's say a big defect knocks out a building's entire air conditioning system. So the DNP for that system gets extended. What is the absolute longest that extension can possibly be?
And the final question. The contractor has done it. They have the performance certificate in their hand. Victory is theirs. How long does the employer have to give them back that big performance security deposit? All right, let's see how you did. The answer to question 1, the employer is responsible for damage caused by the public. For question 2, the absolute maximum DNP extension is 2 years. And for number 3, the employer has 21 days to return that security. If you got all 3 of those right, you are officially a Clause 11 master. Well done! So, to wrap this all up, if you remember nothing else today, just remember these 4 things. 1, the DNP is that super critical warranty period. 2, the contract is crystal clear about who pays for what, which saves a lot of headaches. 3, the performance certificate is the ultimate goal. And 4, there are clear, logical steps for pretty much any problem you can think of. And that is our complete overview of FIDIC Clause 11. We've mastered the final level. So, with the project now 100% complete, what do you think is the next big challenge for the team? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And hey, if you found this explainer helpful, please hit that like button. If not, hit dislike and tell us why so we can get better. Most importantly, make sure you subscribe because you're not going to want to miss our next one, where we will be diving into Clause 12, Measurement and Valuation. Thanks so much for watching.